Alrighty. Believe I've got everything just about ready. I love this music. I also don't know how the audio levels are gonna be because it's been so long that none of my settings exist anymore. Also, this is, this isn't Old Man McGee anymore. This is Old Chap Magoo. So, we're in Europe now. He had to change his name. He's no longer Old Man McGee. So, there we go. Now I'm on the right scene. I'll remember how to do this. It's only been almost 2 weeks. I'm so ready to be back streaming, man. I have missed this so much. So, because of this, we're just gonna be doing quick jobs, because we don't have a truck yet. He had to sell his truck, and we're based out of Grimsby, because it just sounded the most fitting for Old Man Magoo, well, Old Chap Magoo. Man, I forgot how good this playlist is I made. Yeah, that's decent, but I mean, that does also just give the most raw money. Let's take it. We're gonna do it. And because we are Old Chap, that means that we did have to start here. And I am playing with real automatic, meaning I need to click in my sticks to do stuff. It also means that I'm undoubtedly missing some buttons, and I don't know what buttons those are yet. So not sure how I feel about these blinkers. Also, I don't know how the audio levels are. Anyone who's watching that's like, hey, the audio's like messy, like can't hear the game, or music's too low or too loud, please just let me know. And I can adjust things. Let's go onto the open road. Problem is, this just has mayo and mayo. I don't know which to stay between. I don't know where to stay. I need the mayo and the mustard. I don't want to see no ketchup. Wow, it really wants Star Ocean music. Can't blame it. It's good music. That does look a little loud. I may want to turn that down. Why do I have a blinker on? I am still waking up. As if that's a surprise to anybody, really. It's just what I do. I stream early in my day. Even though it's like noon, well, 11:30. Oh, speed limit's up. Who needs 30? This is only a tight turn. Who needs to be going 30? Come on now. I can go 50 here. I'm a skilled driver. Well, I mean, Old Man McGee was. Old Chap Magoo is yet to be seen, but, clearly he's trusted enough to be given a truck to drive, so, Yeah, let's just cruise control with it. $47. A bit of a sharp turn there. Oh, that's that could have been quite dangerous. But it wasn't, so it all worked out. Maybe I should be going closer to like 40. Just maybe. How sharp these turns are. And how big my truck is, Might be a good idea before I paste somebody. I think what the audio level I'm seeing is actually the game. I don't remember what I set my horn to, so I can't easily check. Okay, yeah, that is the game. So maybe the music might be too low. I don't know. Oh well. Enjoy truck noises. Man, I missed playing these games. Hey, I can assure you, looking at this is a lot more fun than it looks. In the shoulder a little bit. It's better than being on the other side, so... Now, I do still want to get, like, an actual wheel for this. I'm still just using a controller. The problem is, like, the wheels are so expensive. Like, I'm honestly a bit surprised there is not, like, some company out there just doing budget wheels. Like, I imagine they'd make good money. Like, doing budget racing wheels and such. I also really need to get back to Earthbound at some point. Do like a proper playthrough of it. Just hearing the four-side music just brings me back. I'm a little sad I won't have my blind experience, because like that was the whole idea of me doing that, was, oh yeah, I'm gonna play it blind. I've never played it before. The bonus is I don't really remember a huge amount outside of like music, so I'd still be going mostly blind. And the tent glitch. I remember the tent glitch. I think everybody who experiences the tent glitch remembers the tent glitch. These little code gremlins going on. Actually kind of waiting for this playlist to shift to some of the new music I added. It's back to Chulip. That's okay. Chulip music's good. I decided to add a bunch of Phantasy Star Online 2 music to this playlist. So I figured that would be pretty fine. Not gonna lie, I do kind of wish that it was possible, and it might be, and I just don't know how to do it, to set up a capture that would basically be from the passenger seat. So I can have that be, like, y'all's view is from the passenger seat. So you're just strapped in this crazy train with me. That would be quite amusing. You'd all be looking for the handles pretty quickly, I feel. Man, the truck really does not like getting close to the barricades, but it's fine getting close to other vehicles. It's perfectly fine with that one. I know I mentioned this the last time I played a trucking sim game, but like, more Star Ocean. I feel like companies are going the wrong way trying to get automation to drive vehicles. What they need to do is invest in the technology for basically the same sort of deal like wireless drones use for people to fly them like really far away. Only apply that to vehicles and then hire gamers to do your trucking for you. We'd do it. Like... Now, the truckers themselves might get upset about that until, you know, these companies be like, alright, we'll just provide you with a full sim setup at home to do this from, and you can keep your job, like, you're an experienced trucker. We wouldn't want to lose experienced truckers, only now you don't have to leave your home to work. Like, that would be the real... That'd be the real benefit of all this stuff. But instead, we just got automation and AI threatening to take over everything, and it's like, okay, guys, you're really missing the mark here. Ah, Invasion. Such a good track. I honestly can't blame my playlist for sticking to Tulip and Star Ocean. Those do make up the bulk of the playlist for now. I'm finally slowly adding more to it again. Because I kind of feel like I'll do more of these streams more often. They're just nice. Sheffield. I know it's Sheffield, but it's Sheffield. How some of these turns are. I might need the service in whatever a yard is. I don't know these measurements. Like, I'm Canadian, man. We work in kilometers and meters and centimeters, which, gonna be honest, it doesn't always make the most amount of sense. Because, like, you get meter, which is, you know, the base, right? But you then get centimeter. Centi, 100. Well, cent is 100. So, 100 meters? No, it means, breaking a meter into 100 littler units. And a millimeter is 1,000 littler units. I don't know how I feel about this blinker. I don't know what that was, but it didn't sound happy. I know I need to pull out, but I want to get up to speed first. Oh boy. I believe that be a type of bot. But welcome in anyway, Kalen Bryan. Wow, it looks like Restream doesn't even want to carry chat at the moment. That's funny. If you love my streams so much, how are you a first-time chatter? That's the question. Besides, I don't really do collabs. While they would be nice to do, the amount of paperwork I would want to do first is a bit much. Because see, doing collabs in general, you really want some documents in place saying who has the rights to what in the situation. And I mean, that can be as simple as just an MS Paint document that says, hey, I give permission for so-and-so to have my voice in their video for, you know, in perpetuity. You know, basically meaning forever. But you need that sort of stuff. And not a lot of people, I imagine, would really want to go through all that hassle. Which also does make it a little, like, concerning when, you know, for friends, when you're like, hey, so, you know, I know we're friends and all, but I really need you to do this, and then you shove a document in their face, like, they're like, wait, what? But we're friends. Like, man, I'm never gonna sue you. It's like, yeah, I do believe that, but at the same time, legally, we do need to cover each other. Because this also prevents me from ever suing you. Yeah, I'm gonna... Oh yeah, the music is plenty loud. Oh, that's like the alert going off. Proximity alert. I'm too approximate to things. I still do not know how these work. I just kind of wing it and it works. That's the roundabout song. I know you're supposed to, like, blinker at some spot, and then, like, do all this fancy stuff. Do I look like a fancy lad to you? Didn't think so. You know, I would do Where Do You Need It? Oh, that actually doesn't look so bad. Let's try it. Because I gotta get... Yeah, I'm aware. Right, you got it. Oh jeez. Hey, I can beep too. You're not special. No, that's the wrong way. Air pressure too low. Don't save here, game. See, I've managed to get the trailer straight like this, but that's not what I need. I am going to Austin Powers this if I'm not careful. Just a little scrape. That's fine. There may be room I might be able to work the trailer just over here. Maybe. This actually looks a lot easier than what I was trying to do. I was overcomplicating things, which is my specialty after all. swing the trailer a little more. Okay. I'm so close. I'm so close. I think I just got further away from where I need to be. Okay. Let's do that. Yeah, I'm aware. I'm aware alert. I'm aware. I was doing so well. Might still have this, though. But y'all are glad I'm not an actual trucker. There we go. Now I got some PSO2 music. This is what I need. Wrong way, wrong way, wrong way. Come on, I'm so freaking close. This is practically where they want it. Kind of. I just need shifted a little more to the right. That's all I need. It's the wrong way. Come on, I'm right there, game. Come on. You can't tell me this isn't practically right. Now the other side's out. We'll get this. I'm committed. Perhaps I should be. Come on. Yes, yes. I did it. Oh. I don't have windshield wipers, do I? That's a control I'm missing. I want, like, these first. I remember these are always kind of the best. I'll go explosives. Yeah, why not? I need to do that really quick. Options. Buttons. No, I have wipers. They're on down. Right, it's just hold for that. There's so many of these things. I really wish it would just tell me where the conflicting button is. Wait, do I have two things on Y? You know, it's just press Y, then hold Y. Just tell me the conflicts, please. I just want to know the conflicts. I want to know the conflicts of interest. But we can now carry explosives. Isn't that great? You want me carrying explosives? Because I want me carrying explosives. My hair's being all funky on me. There we go. Alright, well, we got sawdust panels, olives. Do olives. That would get us another new place. So with that. And this is better. This also gets us somewhere new and is even better. This leaves us outside of there, so this might as well. This for sure takes us right to somewhere new. I'll do fertilizer. Not a great blinker noise. No, hey, it's a job for the same company again. Yeah. Wrong thing. Kinda like... I don't remember how to make that go away. Could do that. There we go. We have a GPS in the truck. I don't need those HUD elements. This ain't no cyberpunk. I don't got a HUD in my eyes. Where's my speed? There's the speed. It's a pretty important thing to have, is my speed. Alright, let's see here. I should really add some F-Zero music to this playlist. It would be very fitting. Speed cameras. Don't know why exactly they would have them that close to the outskirts of a town, but... I feel like speed cameras in general are just most effective when placed in spots where you wouldn't expect them to be. Though I say that, there's been a couple days that there's been speed cameras put in on the road I live on. And yeah, it's become a lot safer when they're there. And people complain out the ass about them being there, but it's like, y'all are literally complaining about something that is purely there because y'all can't stop speeding. I fail to see how... There was a car there. I fail to see how that was my fault. They weren't in my mirror. I glanced, I checked. Maybe they shouldn't have been trying to pass me. Like, that will always be just amusing to me, is watching people complain that, you know, local governments are doing things to try to stop them from breaking the law, and it's like, yeah, no crap. That law is there for a reason. Figured you'd know that. Like, I think the dumbest thing I've ever heard is like, oh, well, you know, the speed limit's the baseline. That's how fast you need to be going, but you should be going faster. It's like, no. No, the speed limit is the limit of what you should be going. But those are also the same people who would, you know, probably try to run me off the road if I was out cycling because, well, bikes shouldn't be on the road, except legally, actually, yes. Yes, I should be. Which also leads to a funny thing of, bikes should need insurance. Ah, yes, my sub-$100 bicycle is totally gonna get insured. Yeah, you're totally gonna get a payout from that should you hit me. Yeah. I mean, I'll gladly take that payout, I suppose. Though even I probably wouldn't get much unless I physically got hurt out of the accident, so... And, you know, I can still sue for insurance money even without insurance myself, being on a bicycle, riding where I'm legally required to ride. But I can't be too mad at these people. They're almost certainly just victims of propaganda, basically. Because, like... It is very much a case of, like, just think for a moment. Who benefits the most from cyclists being basically a target and people wanting cyclists off the road? Car manufacturers. Because when a cyclist can't cycle, they still gotta go places. The thing that these car manufacturers seem to be missing, though, is that, like, people like me who cycle... Oh, I need to be out here still. People like me who cycle, we can't afford cars. That's why we cycle. And, like, you know there would be a big uproar if cyclists were suddenly told, nah, you gotta be on the road, you gotta be on the sidewalk now. Because then pedestrians would rightly complain that, hey, that's for walking, not cycling. Now, honestly, I would actually like to get my hands on, like, an electric bike or something. Something that can go a decent enough speed and isn't chain-driven. Because I live in Canada. My bicycle is currently thumped. The chain is literally just rust because of all the salt from the road in the winters. And, like, there's only so much washing down you can do. Like, in general, a bike chain will last maybe 2 winters up here at, like, washing it at every opportunity. But, like, with what I was doing, which was riding to work, well, my bike is going to sit there covered in salt for 8 hours, well, technically closer to 10 hours a night. So, you know, that is a good chunk of the time that it's just being salt. Which means the chain lasts 1 winter. Like, it's honestly a little annoying. Which is why I really want something that I can basically ride/drive without a license that can, you know, reach decent enough speeds. It doesn't need to be terribly fast. 20 kilometers an hour is good enough for me. That, you know, isn't chain-driven. Maybe actually has some stuff to kind of protect its mechanics, unlike a bicycle, which does not. Coffee. I really should have been thinking and grabbed my my Monster Hunter mug. It has a straw. Doesn't mess with the VTuber model as much when I take a drink. Now, was that YouTube pausing my playlist, or is that the end of the song? I think that was YouTube pausing the song. Hold up. Hey, YouTube. Yes, I am still watching. I am still using this, YouTube. As that is probably the dumbest feature they ever added. I'm okay. It's been a long time since I've done this, but I'm gonna complain about YouTube here. Because anyone else remember back before that feature was even a thing? And how they added it about a year into YouTube Red's existence? And now they've rebranded YouTube Red to YouTube Premium. They literally enshittified the base YouTube just to try to push people to pay for Premium. Which, I also want to say, kind of flies in the face of YouTube's ad blocker crackdown. It's not that they want the ad revenue. YouTube wants the premium revenue. Because, like, let me explain this for anyone who may not know this stuff. YouTube Premium is like $7.99, something like that, Canadian. It's not terribly expensive a month, but it is a monthly payment of about $7.99. The last time I had a CPM, which is basically what you... Excuse me! That was hardly my fault! They just rammed into me and I get fined. Okay. I see how it is. Frickin' British drivers. I say that. I've had that happen so many times in ATS. But, the last time I could see a CPM for the kind of content I do, which is gaming content, it was... I'm gonna need to be going 30 soon anyway. I might just slow down preemptively. It was $4.99 Canadian. So per 1,000 views of gaming content, that is worth $4.99 to YouTube. And then they take a 30% cut, give 70% to the creator. Right there, that should explain why YouTube really wants to crack down on ad blockers, so people pay for premium, not watch ads. That's what they want. They don't want you watching ads. They don't make anywhere near as much money off of that. They want you buying premium. They want you on YouTube Red. Because they make the most money off of YouTube Red. Because I'm pretty sure the YouTube Red split, if it still works the way it used to, they take the money you paid into YouTube Red and dole out some pennies of that to the creators you watch. Until you basically run out of pennies to give, and then you're not giving that creator any more money. There was a car to my left. I didn't get fined for that one. I think that's because the policeman was right there to see that that totally wasn't my fault. They were clearly in the wrong part of the roundabout. It wasn't me. Honest, governor. You know, I'm just gonna let's play it safe. I don't want to spend another like 15 minutes trying to park. This extra XP is nothing though, so like I mean, like, that was 15 extra XP on top of 201. I need 700. Like, yeah. It's nothing. Ooh, this one pays 4,000. Ah, this one's going over to the Netherlands. Why not? Ah, bath time. Be sure to bathe properly, chat. If anyone knows how to bathe properly, it is your duty to inform everyone else how to bathe properly. I have already informed people how to bathe properly, so it is no longer my duty. But if anyone is curious, I suppose I can. Okay, yeah, we don't have the GPS this time, so I kind of need to keep my GPS. I don't know where I'm going, man. I think you do blinker here. I didn't blinker to leave the other place. I don't like that blinker. It's not very good. Pretty weak blinker. Where was my horn again? There it is. Ah, that's a nice horn. I like that horn. I should have my lights on. Seems like it's getting late. Yeah, it's 6:30, so. I hope that's the internal temperature and not the external temperature at 45 Celsius. That has to be internal. But that doesn't make sense. This engine would be a lot hotter than that, I would think. There's literally explosions happening inside of it. Explosions tend to be pretty hot. But, like, YouTube would greatly prefer if everybody using it was using YouTube Premium. Because, as mentioned, they just simply get the most out of that. You know, I need to be out here anyway. I really shouldn't be going this fast. Like, YouTube gets the most out of it, creators get the least out of it, and that's ideal for YouTube. Because, like, that CPM, well, they have to pay it, you know, regardless kind of thing. So, you know, that creator does get their 1,000 views, you know, 1,000 ad views. YouTube owes them their cut of that, like, $5 CPM. But with YouTube Premium, they don't. You get the pennies from the views you got of premium viewers, but that's it. Which, admittedly, getting 1 penny from a single view is a lot better than the CPM, but that's assuming that viewers still had that single penny left of what they paid that you could be given. Because there's no guarantee that they do. There's also no guarantee that YouTube isn't just gonna go, well, this person's already watched 20 of your videos this month. We've given you 20 cents. Now we gotta share that around with other creators now, the rest of it. Because, you know, they also watched this, you know, big news station. So, you know, we gotta give them $1 instead of the pennies we give you. Because, you know, they're big news. We gotta keep them happy. Like, there's a lot of times where it's just like, you know, you can tell that people are getting sick of how YouTube has become, but there's basically nothing we can do about it. Because it's like, well, what are you gonna do? Go to a different platform? There isn't any. At least none with the power, the view power of YouTube or Twitch. These are your options. Twitch has more competition because it's a smaller platform. But to be fair, a lot of people do stream on YouTube. I mean, I'm streaming on YouTube right now, as well as Twitch. And, you know, that right there is competition to the Twitch side of my stream. Now, for the Twitch overlords, I will say Twitch is performing slightly better than YouTube is, because it is a better website. Contractually, I have to say and show Twitch to be a better experience. I love both sides equally, however. Oh, I can't pull out. No. Come on, cars. Wait, I need to be in here anyway. I just wanted to go faster. I don't even know what speed those are going. I think it's like 45. Primordial Darkness theme. This one will be going for a while, but it's worth it. I can't wait till we get to this point in the Phantasy Star Online 2 series, stream series. Oh boy, someone's going really slow here. It's that bus, I swear. I may actually adjust audio levels a little more. I don't know yet. It's like every time I look over, I'm like, that seems really loud. Hold on, I'm gonna do that because it does seem really loud on both fronts. Okay, yeah, that's YouTube a lot better now. Then let's turn this down 2 notches, or 1 notch. One creator of Minecraft lower. Yeah, this seems a lot better. Just figuring things out again. It's a problem with it being so long since I've done, like, any of these trucking streams. Yeah, it's right, little car. The limit here is 50 anyway. Like, the actual proper limit. Yeah, they just really want to go fast. I mean, that seems pretty realistic, though. Even if the limit is proper 50, to have people, like, blazing past me to be like, no, I need to go faster. They needed to be somewhere at 6:45, and they left, like, a minute ago. Wait, no, that isn't actually time. It's 18:22. What would be 18:22? Well... 13 is 1. 14 is 2. So 14 is 2. That's 8. So I'm arriving in the morning? Okay. So they need to be somewhere at 8:30 and they left a minute ago. You know, that sort of thing. Honestly, the people that do that drive me freaking insane. It's like, okay, you knew you needed to be somewhere. So now you're making it everyone else's problem that you left too late. You know, it's like, why not just leave with ample time to get to where you're going? That makes the most sense to me. You know, if I have to be somewhere for a specific time, like let's say if I have to be somewhere for, well, it's 12 now, let's say 3 p.m. I would be leaving, depending on how far I needed to go, at probably like 2:30. Like, if I had to walk somewhere, like, I just got dental insurance coverage. So let's say I'm going to the dentist. I'm walking to the dentist. They're about a 35 to 40 minute walk away. That has the potential to be interrupted by a train. So, yeah, I'm going to be, if I had to be there for 3, I'm leaving at 2. So I can be sure I'm getting there on time. Like, I'm not gonna leave at, needing to be there at 3. I'm not gonna leave at, like, 2:45 for the 40-minute walk. And then, like, full force sprint the entire way there. Because I left too late. Like, nah. I'm gonna be responsible. I feel like the limit's gonna drop again. Yep, there it goes. Going this way, truck. I will forever love this track. Because literally the lyrics of the song starts with Matoi, then Hitsugi, then Harriet singing to you, and then you sing back to them. Taking a boat. Boat. Embark. Where am I going? Oh. Okay, I need to turn around. They parked me in a really weird spot. Now, this is, yeah, this side of the road. And this is also kilometers. This is sensible driving now. And potentially even sensible roads. I also love the subtleness of Harriet's lines. That, like, she doesn't just refer to herself. There's lots of vehicles there. Oh, I'm being allowed to go. I don't think I'm gonna exactly fit. Oh, there was no screeching, so I assume that worked. Like, Harriet's lines are weird, because Harriet isn't just Harriet. I don't want to say too much more than that for anyone who doesn't know, because we haven't gotten that far in the series yet, but Harriet isn't just Harriet. We've met her before. We talk to her quite often. She just doesn't know it yet. And neither do we. Technically. I mean, I know, but... Coffee. Rotterdam. Oh, this is like a nightmare of roading. Never mind. Never mind on the whole sensible roads. Though it does also remind me of with City Skylines, that game. The optimal way to play it is to install a mod that removes traffic lights, like removes stoplights. I can't see the light. Okay, it's green. Because, like, having the stoplights actually makes your traffic worse. Like, makes congestion worse. Which, I mean, anyone who's ever been on the road could be like, yeah, that scans. Because, like... let's just play it safe. You know, how often is it that a big group of cars builds up because of one red light? Hey, leveled up again. Yeah, let's get some extra distance. Up to 1,300 euros. Heck yeah. I want more new places. This is a pretty quick trip for a lot of money. Performance forks. Well, I gotta deliver the performance forks. Okay, I like that one. Okay, now how do I get out of here? Left. This truck has GPS. It's also in kilometers. Wait, I don't need to be doing that yet. Or is this kilometers? That seems... no, it's in kilometers. Man, I love cruise control. I love refrigerators. Yield. I yield for nothing. Oh. Well, whoops. I thought the limit might have gone up because that was highway. And it said 50. But apparently I'm still at... Right, my brain. It didn't say 50. It said 100 before, is what the sign had said. And I took that to mean I could actually speed up a little. Man, this truck's actually pretty nice. It's got a good horn. It's got nice blinkers. It's got a nice wood interior. I like this one. Right, I keep forgetting the trucks in this game are like hard capped at 55 miles per hour. They can't actually go 100. My limit's also not 100. I think it's like 80. It doesn't help that the GPS is reading out my limit in miles per hour, but the speedometer is in kilometers. I could change that, but then I'd have to change it back if I'm ever back driving a British truck. Kind of wish it would automatically change. There might be a setting for that. I just don't know about it. You know, there never used to be, but there's a lot of settings that there didn't used to be, so... It's been a long time since I played Euro. So man, the Azure Lane music is reminding me that there's a Azure Lane event coming up soon, and I am not ready for it. I don't have the cubes for a new event yet. Like, 4 months ago, I easily had, you know, 600 cubes. Then there was a micro-German event adding 2 ships that ate all of those cubes, and I only got 1 of them. I should have stopped after a while doing 10 times pulls. I should have, but I didn't. I didn't even see the speed limit sign. Maybe I should have the thingy up. I mean, I may not be a cyberpunk, but maybe I should have this up just so I can actually watch my speed. See the muff. Mother. I think. Is this Mother? I don't think this is Phalanx. Might be, though. No, I think this is Mother. Of which I do wonder if Toby Fox played PSO2. Because Killer Queen is basically Mother. Just silly. Like, they're literally both entities that control high-speed communication, that genuinely want to help and make things better. Like, and are just going about it in the wrong way. And both stop when they're told, hey, you can do this in a better way. Like, they are both very similar. You know, policeman, I know you're saying not to go this way, but my GPS says to go this way. And I am paid for being on time. So I'm going this way. You can't stop me. I don't even know why you were blocking the road. There's nothing here. I'm very bamboozled right now. And like ATS would be at least like a crash or something. But no, they apparently just really wanted to block that bit of road. I also have to say, and I know there's going to be some people who would very much disagree with me on this, the secret boss of Episode 4 in PSO2, Phaleg, is one of, if not the hardest boss in gaming. Like, and I know there's going to be people who are like, oh, but what about this Elden Ring boss or this Dark Souls boss? They're predictable. They do the same things, the same time, the same way, every fight. Phaleg doesn't. Phaleg doesn't. She gives you less than a second of reaction time with a lot of her attacks, and she demands perfection out of you. She is fighting you at her best. You'd best be doing the same. Like... Like, most Souls bosses, you can take a hit and then have a chance to recover before the next hit. Phaleg, if she hits you, you're probably dead. Because she's not giving you a chance to recover before the next attack. And she just hit you once. Okay, there's the accident, I suppose. But, like, that is also just very much the thing with... Wait, am I supposed to be here? Yes, this is just Nightmare Road. Got it. But, like, that is the thing with PSO2's gameplay as well. Like, it is an MMO with full action combat. Like, it's not your standard tab targeter. You can play it that way, but you still need to be a lot more active than your standard tab targeter. I mean, it literally has a third-person shooter mode to it, which at times is the optimal way to be playing, because the lock-on and targeting can really screw you over. Like, if Phaleg was a boss in, like, Final Fantasy XIV, she'd probably be piss easy. Also, I need to turn off the sleep simulation. I just noticed that. Options. Gameplay. No. Give me long jobs. This needs to be higher. Give me like 25% chance of rain. I do wonder... Ooh, you can just disable the speed limiter now. Thank you. Don't want adaptive cruise control. I don't know what exactly the difference would be. Go full info. I was kind of hoping to maybe see... It might be under interface. Yeah, there's no way for it to... automatically swap. I do know kilometers to miles a lot better than the other way around. My brain definitely gets confused there. Also, thank you, YouTube, for doing that while I'm here. Oh, no, that was Phaleg the whole time. I thought that was Mother. To be fair, Phaleg is quite the MILF, so it still fits. Where is my wipers? That's headlights. This one? It's this one. Okay. I haven't needed them yet, so, you know. Do I need to... I do. Oh, swat. We've got to do a loop here, apparently. Did I miss a turn, or is this literally just how this goes? This feels weird. No, Terra NZ 033. And just kind of that. It's also just yapping simulator. So I can just sit here and yap. It's pretty nice. I yield to nothing. That is fair. I usually, when I used to play these a lot, I would play American Truck Sim, because it's just closer to home for me, because I'm in Canada. But with recent events, and I will just leave it there because I don't want to get into this stuff, I have made the conscious choice to avoid most American things until time that recent events stop being a thing. So I'm playing Euro Truck 2 again. I will say they have definitely updated the physics in this game. That was the main reason why I played American Truck, though, also, was... Well, one of the main reasons was just the physics were better. They were clearly using a different physics engine, and the driving just felt better. They've now definitely updated this one to it, so... A lot of Canadians can. I cannot. I was supposed to learn French, but in school, our French classes started in grade 5. And they started at what I would dub an intermediate level, where they expected everyone to already know some French. I knew none. You might be able to see the problem. The teachers didn't, slow down to, help the people who didn't know. We were just supposed to know. So, I grew kind of a dislike for French because of that. I thought for a while I just had a dislike of learning languages, but I've been learning Japanese just fine. So, I say that. I've been learning what Duolingo has been teaching me. I don't know how accurate that is. The more I use Duolingo, the more I'm seeing the AI sloppiness of it. Which is a bit disappointing. Ooh, this is taking me somewhere else new. That is the most money I can make. Highest price. This is the most money. And that might discover me more places. It's not the best money per kilometer, but it's the most money overall. And that's good enough for me. Good blinker. Alright, horn. I like this truck. That is how I judge trucks. Does blinker sound good? Does horn sound good? If yes to those, it's a good truck. If no, it's bad truck. Oh hey, I'm leaving the place I just came to. Neat. I'm waiting and hoping for the day that Canada gets added to American Truck Sim. Canada and Mexico. That would be pretty nice. Slowly add all of America, not just the United States. Because there is a North and South America. I mean, heck, Euro Truck Sim has added parts of Asia, so, See, I don't know trucks. This might shock you, given what you're looking at, but I'm not a car guy at all, or truck guy. I just find this game weirdly fun, so I play it. It's also just a nice chill game that I can just sit and yap to. This truck is pretty loud. At least on my end, it's very much drowning out my music. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, I don't know, like, I don't even know that brand. I think I might have run into one at some point in American Truck. I don't remember, though. I don't even have that game installed at the moment. This boy be loud. Come on, controller. There we go. But yeah, I definitely want to find a different resource for learning Japanese. I'm starting to distrust Duolingo. Oh, I gotta pull out. I should have just stayed pulled out. Ah, Teetery. Good song. Because, like, I literally had an instance with Duolingo, with learning Japanese, where it gave me the exact same sentence twice in a row. And you would think, oh, same answer both times. Nah. Nah, different answer. So I ended up getting one wrong, because they gave me, basically, what I can only describe as AI slop as a prompt to answer, and then had their same sloppy AI correcting me. And from everything I had learned so far, yeah, only one of the two things it told me was right was actually right. Like, that company really needs to rehire its language experts and get rid of its AI and AI grading. Especially where, like, I'm to the point where I can read a good bit of individual characters of hiragana, as well as, like, I can read a few words if I see them. I couldn't sit here and actually recite many words. And I don't know enough of any category of words to actually communicate in any way after 70 days of learning. It's a little disheartening. Especially where I'd always heard Duolingo was, like, really good, but yeah, it might have been one day. It's not anymore. Those two trains or trams seemed really close to each other. Colm. Policey men. Or policey women. Aika. That looked a lot like IKEA, but, you know. Boy, I need the middle lane. Well, it's not exactly middle, but I need a middle lane. Oop, keep bumping the mic. Tells me it's not in quite the right spot. Doesn't help. This mic boom is getting old and pretty worn down. I mean, I've had the mic boom for basically as long as I've had the microphone. I've had this microphone since, like, 2014-ish? The cable is giving me some worrying signs that it might be becoming faulty. As in, there's literally obvious burn marks inside the cable. So that's fun. Gotta love Earthbound music. It's so simple yet so effective. At some point, I really should just download my entire, like, playlist. And just have, like, VLC running. That way, like, it doesn't automatically pause randomly. Because, like, I've tried using browser extensions that supposedly prevent YouTube from automatically pausing, but none of them ever seem to work. Which is a bit of a problem. Blue. We're blue now. That's the attack. such a relaxing time, this game is. I also love how I definitely play this a lot differently than most people. Because, like, there's a lot of people who will go about this game like, I need to build, like, the best truck empire I can. And I'm just here like, yep, the moment I can save up enough to buy a truck, I will own said truck. And then I'll make more money by driving my own truck around, and that'll be it. I don't need employees. I don't need any of this extra stuff. Like, pretty set. I'm gonna break a cardinal rule of driving, and I'm gonna be on my phone because I have a message apparently. There we go. I'm totally paying attention to what I'm doing. Totally. Totally. That's the wrong charger, isn't it? No, that's the right charger. Yeah. Triumphant music. Very fitting, because I didn't crash. It feels really nice being back streaming. And for those wondering where I've been for the past, like, almost 2 weeks, dog sitting. That's where. I can't really, well, it's more, I couldn't really, like, take care of the house here and stream. So I just opted for the most part, not streaming unless I felt like I really had the time. That did entirely depend on how good Shadow was being that day, which meant I streamed, I think, once in the past, like, 12 days. And it was a short stream because I needed to be done by basically 3. I don't need to be done by 3 today. Don't know how long I'm going to be going, though. Probably for a while, because, I mean, this is just a fun game, so, you know. Hamburg. The main issue I have with, like, even the thought of, like, I kind of want to switch off of Duolingo is I don't want to lose my streak, though. I'm on a 70-day streak. It's a pretty nice streak. But at the same time, it's like, If I'm not actually learning, then what's the point? I could just start using other resources too, but I have limited time in the day, so, you know, I can't just spam out all the resources kind of thing. I do have a few games I've been wanting to play that should help with learning Japanese. The keyword there being should. Go, little car, go. Coming out of nowhere, lightning fast. To kick Chuck Norris in his cowboy ass. It'll be the bloodiest battle the world ever saw. The civilians looking on in total awe. The fight would rage on for a century. Many lives to be claimed. I know I skipped a lot of the lines there. Oh no. Okay, that is continuing at 120. Now I gotta get back up to speed. Speed! Ukovom. Truck, please. I think this is Tucson's theme. I don't know where I need to be here. This looks like what I would dub Road Hal. It says I need to be out here, so I'll be out here. Pretty nice out here. You're almost to Hamburg. This feels elaborate and unnecessary. But we are in Germany, so elaborate and unnecessary is just kind of what they do. Ooh. Apprentice's theme. Yeah, I don't think it matters where I am. That is a very poorly placed stoplight. As is this. I needed to be out. I didn't even notice. I'm not going all the way around. I will break all the road laws to get where I need to go. I'm on a deadline. Okay. It's like I would do this, but actually that doesn't look that hard. Looks are probably very deceiving, but it doesn't look too hard. A lot of the time these just aren't worth doing though, because like... What is 40 XP? You know, it's nothing. Stuck on some pipes. I mean, it's a case of, like, I get this is part of the simulator side of it, but, like, I still just really wish this was worth a little more. Because, like, 40 XP is nothing when you compare that to everything else here. It's 10%. More long distance. I like long distance jobs. Used trucks. You got 22,000 euros. That's not enough for a used truck. It's a lot of euros, though. These are all pretty expensive. Truck dealers. Nah, I'm good. I can't afford any of them anyway, I know it. I'm pretty sure... People have just gone somewhere, because that's the message I got. And now the dog is barking. So I should probably go deal with him really quick. Drank less of my coffee anyway. So, I'll be back in a couple of minutes. I gotta use the washroom, so it works out. I'll be back. Okay. I return. I no longer rotund, which is a good thing. Because, you know, I don't really want to be rotund. Never really wanted to be, just got very lazy and complacent. Let's see. Highest paying one, going back to Great Britain. I mean, this one's also pretty nice. And this will discover possibly 2 places for us. It's not quite as much, but it's basically 1,000 euros less, so we'll take this one instead. Wrong one. Not bad. Oh, that's awful. That is an awful horn. Like, what is that? It's not a horn. Definitely not a horn for a big truck. Oh, this is one where the default view does not actually let you see the mirror. That's a problem. And YouTube's pausing my music again. This works out. Oh, the game audio stopped, so I'm not clicked into the window. That's kind of funny. I should have the wipers on. And the headlights. If you ever needed an example as to how messed up miles per hour is, 48. 48 is the speed I'm going at the moment. In a reasonable speed measuring system. You know, one that's base 0, not, or base 10, not base 12. The Tenda Cave. I'm alright. I turned the wheel and the truck just went, no. I love when that happens. It's because of the rain. Which, you know, I can't help but feel. And maybe I'm the crazy one here. It's like, I'm no, like, road designer. If asphalt gets that slippery when it rains, maybe, just maybe, we shouldn't be using it for road surfaces. Maybe I'm the crazy one here, but it's just how it feels, you know? Maybe we should be using a material that doesn't get slippery when wet. That seems like the reasonable course of action to take. Town themes. This would be castle towns, basically. Specifically, I believe, if I remember entirely correctly, because I have the remasters music in my head, not the original at this point. This is Cross. Or not Cross. Liqueur. Yeah, Liqueur. The truck is just not accelerating. This hill is too much for it. Love this speed camera placement at the bottom of a hill, or like on a decline, where people are... I was 1 kilometer an hour over. That's not even noticeable on miles per hour. Wait, I'm 80? But the thing was just saying 90. And now it's saying 90 again. I'm going 80. I don't trust these roads. They lie to me. I'll just set myself to 80. $80 is where I will live. Opening theme. I do find it kind of amusing how they've clearly updated their trucks to be modern year trucks kind of thing. Because I don't remember a single truck in this game, the last I was playing it, which was a long time ago, that had digital readouts and like collision alerts and like all that stuff. Probably a stipulation of the licensing. They need to keep, like, modern year trucks. That'd be my guess, anyway. Trying to think of things to ramble about and yap about. Yeah, I'm gonna need to pull out into the middle. Which means I get to make everybody very annoyed. Because I'm just gonna do it now. And I am not speeding up. I'm watching that limit like a hawk for when it drops. Sugi Unleashed. I gotta say, like, episode 4 in general of PSO2 is really fun, and it's also just really, like, almost infinitely amusing to me just how dorky Hitsugi and Cory are. They're both just massive dorks. And I love that. Because, like, they're, God, I forget what they're called. Cosmologic arm? No, Cosmologic is... Avatar arms. That's the name of their weapons. And outfits. Like, they're basically made based on the desires of the person. And, like, the heavy interests of the person and that sort of stuff. So... Cory's, when she's being mind-controlled and evil, she makes Grom, a sword from British mythology that's basically sinister, evil, destroys things, is basically a blade of destruction. And her outfit she makes for herself is, like, equally fitting. Like, it has a sinister vibe to it. Hitsugi is a Japanese history nut. So, of course, she makes, Amino Orakiri, I believe it is, the sword that slayed Orochi. It's like, really, girl? She makes herself this beautiful, traditional-esque outfit, and it's like, dork. I say knowing I would be doing much of the same, only it would be like plate armor and, you know. Only I wouldn't make like Excalibur. I would just want like I'd want a proper sword, but I don't think I would want like a named sword. I'd want it to be my own, not someone else's. I keep resetting the camera, thinking I'll still be able to see the mirror, but I can't. See, limit change. I was right to stay at 80. Not getting another traffic violation. You can't make me. And yeah, I will probably be back playing PSO2 on Saturday. I just felt like doing something kind of relaxing and just chill for the stream. That was more or less my goal. My goal, my schmole. Not my hole, though. I don't know why I do that. I just randomly will be like, I want to rhyme things. So that's just what I end up doing, is I'll just rhyme a bunch of stuff. And make up words if I have to. Anyone who's watched my Animal Crossing videos knows I do that quite a lot. Though at least in those I've gotten to the point where I at least try to come up with actual words that rhyme with stuff. It can just be quite difficult to do at times, depending on what word I decide to start with. Which I know this is very much like a mid-stream plug, but I do have a daily Animal Crossing New Horizons series, should you like my general style of yappy content. You can find it at 6 p.m. Atlantic every single day. Okay, I'm not going to Newcastle. Okay, I shouldn't speed up. If anything, I should slow down. I don't trust these roads. But no, I'll stay at the 80. You see? 80's good. Just until the cruise control stops caring, but you know. Man, I cannot find a good spot for my mic. I also don't think I can mess with my VTuber model while I'm doing this. No, I can't. Oh, no, I can. This just also does other things. They've mapped things to my mouse buttons without me telling them to. And one of them was apparently cruise control. Can I just say, I kind of hate when games do that. When it's just like, oh, you got a Gamer Boy bath mouse. We gotta make sure that we map buttons to it because, well, map features to it because clearly you want to use those buttons. It's like, but I don't most of the time. That's the thing. Like, I have for PSO2 one button mapped onto the mouse. And that's weapon actions. And that's just to save the slot in the weapon palette. That's it. Like, I don't actively want things mapped onto my mouse buttons. Even more so when, like, they're things that you need to be pressing quite often. It's like, well, I would much more rather use the hand that has many fingers available rather than the hand that has 2 fingers available. Like, I do remember when, like, I started encountering computer mice with extra buttons, thinking that it was pretty neat to have those extra buttons for the utility they added to, like, web browsing. Because, like, if you don't know, and maybe a lot of mice don't do this these days, mine still does. Pressing one button of your, forward or back mouse buttons backs a page, the other button forwards a page. So, like, if you want to just, rather than hitting the little back arrow, you could just hit the button on your mouse. And that was convenient. Wasn't a feature I used very often, but that was convenient whenever I did actually use it. And, it was something, I suppose. Neat gimmick. And then for whatever reason, just companies all over the place are just like, no, this is what we're doing now. It's like, I don't want this. Though I could sit here and ramble and rant about computers and how kind of stupid they are the entire stream. And my biggest complaint will probably always be Windows not relinquishing RAM without a restart. Like, I can't be the only person that leaves their computer on a reasonable amount of time aka never turns it off, who basically gets forced into restarting every, like, 10 to 14 days simply because Windows will have at that point gobbled up, like, 20 gigs of memory and is just refusing to relinquish it, even though it's not using it. But it's got it allocated to itself. Like, I would much more rather have that RAM for when I need it. Of which, you know, you get the people who are like, oh, why have that much RAM if you aren't going to use it? It's like, because I will be using it when I need it, and not a second sooner. Just go, vehicles. Jesus. There's no need to stop. You had the light. I already don't remember what side of the road I'm on. It's this side. My brain is not working with me. This is one I'm definitely just gonna... Let's just take it easy. These ones are kind of a nightmare to park in, and it's not worth the experience. Even this isn't worth it. Like... Not compared to the rest of the experience. And how much I need. Ooh, 9,000. It's a pretty long trip, but 9,000. That'll also only discover me one place. This pays a little more. This pays more for the time, ever so slightly. Come on, bunny. That one's a little quiet, but it checks out. Man, I love Tulip music. It's so good. The whole game's good. And I know there's people who would probably disagree on that, but, like, you're just wrong. It's not perfect, no, but it's a good game. I mean, no game is perfect. Even the critically acclaimed action MMO RPG Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn, which is technically the name of the base version, yet people always leave that part out. I think it's maybe because they don't care for A Realm Reborn and don't want to be reminded it exists. Which, like, it just feels fitting that I ramble about this again, because, like, I just tend to do that every time I'm playing this, is ramble about the other games I play. 14 is so bad. Wait, this might be a mistake. I need to be in that lane for my turn. This truck's just not even going 80. It's not even going 70. Jeez. Like, for how quote-unquote amazing that game is, you really shouldn't be running into a bunch of encounters where it's like, well, it gets good next expansion. Well, it gets good next expansion. And then you get to the next expansion. Well, it gets good next expansion. Then you get to that one. Well, it gets good next expansion. It's like, okay, is this just a joke at this point? Like, does it never get good? Like, that's the point I'm at with 14. And, like, I'm not saying I hate the game, but the story is mediocre at best and terrible at worst. The, you know, the character development is nearly non-existent. At least within the first 3 expansions. And, like, I even basically know why that happened. It's just simply the voice actors were gone for the, you know, the second, you know, the first expansion. They were just gone. So they clearly didn't want to do anything major with the characters in any version of the game for Heavensward, because, well, the voice actors are gone for the North American version. So that obviously means we can't have character development, period, because, well, you know, we don't have the North American voice actors. Which, you know, I still don't know what Square was thinking with that one. Like, they hired these people on to do A Realm Reborn, and then didn't keep them on payroll, so they went and found other jobs in the meantime. Like, and then Square's sitting there surprised Pikacha'd because the voice actors weren't available to come work because they had went and found other jobs. Because, you know, they need to be making money, and Square didn't keep them on payroll. So it's like, well done there, guys. Like, what did you think was gonna happen? Because, like, if I'm hired on for contract work for something, and then the terms of the contract I'm under end, I'm not given another contract right away, I'm not just going to sit around and be like, oh boy, I hope they give me another one. I'm going to go get another job. I'm going to go find somewhere that will give me another contract, and I'm going to keep working. Especially if I'm a voice actor, because it's not terribly hard to do voice acting work, and you get paid a crap load of money for it. And I don't mean, like, voices themselves are easy. What I mean is, like, and this goes back to the Bayonetta controversy. This is where I know these numbers from. for 20 hours of work spread out over 2 weeks, the original Bayonetta voice actress was being offered more money than I made in an entire... than I would have made, because I didn't work an entire year, than I would have made at my last job working an entire year, 40 hours a week. For 20 hours of work spread out over 2 weeks. I'm sorry, but I don't think I could complain about that. She did, and she lost her job over it. But, you know, I wonder if she's had more work since, because she kind of made herself out to be someone who's, in my opinion, not really employable. I'm gonna trust they gave me enough fuel for this. This truck doesn't seem to be going through it all that quickly, so... And, like, not gonna lie, I do enjoy doing voices, and wouldn't mind stepping into the world of voice acting at some point. I just don't even know where to even get started. Or, yeah, well, I have ways of practicing, you know. I just have no one really giving me feedback on my practicing kind of thing. Well, I suppose. I have one bit of feedback, and it really made my day. And it was someone commenting on one of my Animal Crossing videos saying that when I do voices that it makes them laugh, which is kind of the point of me doing it. I just want people to laugh. So, you know, it works out. This is Mother. Pretty sure. This might be an alternate Phalanx. I'll know once it picks up. Pretty sure this is Mother, though, and this is Ridroid section. But I mean, with, you know, such inspiring figures in the voice acting world, such as Chris Pratt, who played Super Mario perfectly by it sounding exactly like Chris Pratt. You know, that really, you know, it inspires me to believe that even someone such as I could become a voice actor, should I wish. I still really hate that casting. Like, I get Nintendo is trying to reinvent itself and move away from all their old voice actors and all that stuff, but it's like, really? Like, they had Charles Martinet in that movie. They also had the original voice for Peach in that movie. But they didn't actually use them, really. They had other people doing those roles, and, like, that Peach voice was not Peach. That Mario voice was Chris Pratt. You know, like... And even now, like... I still enjoy Peach as a character. I've always liked Peach. Peach, Yoshi... Bit of Luigi going on, you know. But, like, playing Mario Kart World, that's not Peach. That's not Luigi. Yoshi still sounds fine, though. Like, it's just not them. And I don't say this to disparage the voice actors and actresses. Like, they're doing good work. They're not doing bad jobs as these characters. It's just not those characters. It would be like having a Star Trek show without the computer sounding like, and I don't know the actress's name, but the computer from Star Trek. Like, that actress, before she passed, recorded so many lines that they could use that voice never needs to change. And that's all Nintendo had to do with their voice actors and voice actresses. If they were worried about Charles Martinet getting up in years, just bring him in to record a bunch of lines so that you've got Mario for the rest of time. You know, you don't need to change voice actors because you've just got an infinite amount of wahoo, you know. Like, I had kind of figured that was the whole point of them doing the Italian babbling for Mario and Luigi actually speaking, was so that they could just get Charles to record a bunch of voice lines and use them forever. But they didn't. Even though that's exactly what it sounded like they were trying to do. And it's really weird. I might actually have to find fuel. This is getting a little worryingly empty. And also, poor DK. Like, I get Bonanza is apparently a fun game, but man, what did they do to our boy? Like, I'm sorry, but that's not DK anymore. Unless they now mean DK means Diddy Kong, because I could see that being Diddy all grown up, even though Diddy is actually the same age as DK, and, like, it's just the different species of monkeys they are. But, you know, or maybe, like, DKJ, you know, get Junior going on. And, like, the whole thing is like, oh, well, Donkey Kong is the title. It's like, I'm pretty sure that's been his name the whole time. And that's why we have DK Jr. as his son. Because that was his name. And he's not an inventive monkey. So his son just got named DK as well. And then became DK Jr. I want to trust the process, but... I'm getting worryingly low on fuel. And YouTube just paused my music, so that works. There we go. Now let's, yeah, this is definitely Mother. Mostly because I could say that with confidence, because, you know, just showed Mother. So nice how they cover my fuel expenses. I mean, I still had 2 hours to go, but that, I don't think that tank would have carried me 2 hours. Like, I have that issue anytime any company massively changes a character's design for no reason. Like, there's some instances where I'm fine with it. Like, if you want to look at, say, like, the portraits in Star Ocean First Departure R, those character portraits more closely match what the sprites really should have looked like. But because for First Departure, they more or less just carried on using effectively what the original game used for the sprites, and the original game was an SNES game, changing sprites was not the easiest thing to do back in those days, especially when you're trying to build a basically 3D world on the SNES. You know, it's not the easiest. So they just didn't change the sprites. So Elia and Ronix, well, their outfits, they're always wearing their Earth outfits in the past where they're not even supposed to have them. You know. But with First Departure R, the portraits got changed to show them in fitting outfits. Ronix is wearing, like, armor. Elia's wearing clearly a different outfit than she would than her regular Earth outfit, even if her sprite is unchanged. I do wish they would have changed the sprites for those characters. But, like, you know, that I accept. I mean, the design of the characters hasn't majorly changed either. You know, they didn't go through and make, you know, Elia suddenly have black hair with, you know, maybe a tan complexion, you know, turned Ronix into, you know, an old admiral instead of a young captain. You know, they didn't do that sort of stuff. Ronix definitely looks older than he should, but it's Ronix. Who cares about Ronix? But like the changes they made to DK, it's just, what have they done to my boy? I am very much not a fan of those changes. They just don't make sense, you know? Whoop. Turned the stick a little too far. And, like, if a change makes sense, I'm fine with it. Like, if DK had always looked dumb, and then they changed him to look cool, that's different. But they took DK, who was always kind of a cool, intimidating character, and made him goofy. Junior was the goofy one. So, Bonanza should really be DK Jr., not DK. Especially where, based on where this is in, like, the timeline of things, this is the DK that kidnaps Pauline when she's an adult, that Mario then saves. Begs the question why she was always crying for help, given she knows that monkey. She's friends with that monkey. This is why adding things early in timelines does not work. And I don't know why companies and studios are still making that mistake. And the most grievous one has to be Star Trek. Like, I love Star Trek. It's a good series. I watch nothing past Enterprise in release date. And even the original, you know, the Enterprise show, it has problems with having been added pre-Kirk. You know, it's the beginnings of Starfleet. Well, we know a fair bit about the beginnings of Starfleet. And they alter some of that for Enterprise. They also ruin the finale by having it be a holodeck thing. And you basically know that's coming the moment you see Riker and Troy there. It's like, this is gonna be ruined. Got it. But, like, Discovery ruins the continuity. It just does. And like Discovery or not, you have to acknowledge that. The only way it doesn't ruin continuity is if it's not part of the continuity. Like, they completely messed with the Klingons' design in a way that just doesn't make sense. They ironically, in an attempt to, in their mind, make Klingons less racist, because Klingons are totally racist, don't you know, because they're all brown skin. if you look at the physiology of the planet, not physiology, ecology? If you look at the planet they evolved on, it makes sense their skin would be the color that it is, but, you know. But they took Klingons that they deemed racist and turned them into actually racist caricatures. Because that's somehow better? They took a race that really, outside of the original series, which, they were literal mustache-twirling villains, but they also had mixed skin colors then, because there really wasn't a budget for costumes. There was a budget to give everyone a mustache, though, and have them literally twirl them. But they also introduced canon-breaking things, like the Spore Drive. A thing that is literally capable of instantaneous transportation to basically anywhere. Yeah, using it has the chance of destroying the ability to use warp drives. But when the Dominion is threatening to literally wipe out everybody, wouldn't it be really convenient to dig that technology out of Mothball and use it? Except they didn't. Because they didn't have it. Because it didn't exist. Until Discovery was done. And Discovery, even though it put itself earlier in the timeline, was more futuristic than anything we'd seen from Star Trek, period. I hope people can understand why I don't like that show. And, like, I'm fine with them adding tidbits to the lore. Like, Deep Space Nine did that really well with the Tribble episode, where they basically superimposed the actors into the original footage of the Tribble episode from the original series and made it feel seamless. They didn't change the continuity any. They just had fun with it. And had the cast experience Tribbles. Which is fine. What Discovery did, though, was it took the canon and it just threw it away. And started making up its own. Because, like, Discovery, from what I remember, is either just prior or literally just after Kirk's time. I forget which. I think it was just after. Like, 10 years after kind of thing. TNG is only, like, 20, 30 years after Kirk. Like, there are still characters from the original Enterprise crew still alive in TNG. They're way up there in years, but, you know, they're still there. Yet, we never hear of the Discovery. At all. In TNG, Deep Space Nine, none of it. We never hear of the war from Discovery. Even though it was a Federation crippling war. Somehow they went from that to within 20 or so years being a complete utopia. Like, I don't think the writers understand logic. Let's go... high value. Let's go old Chap Magoo. What we got this time? Ooh, 10K. That's the most expensive by far. So, we're taking this job. Okay, how do I get out of here? This way. That road line just disappeared in front of me. Good horn. Good blinkers. Yeah, I like this one. And like, maybe I care a little too much about Star Trek, but it is one of my favorite series. It's also one of my favorite series to, like, thought experiment with. Because there's a lot of sci-fi worlds out there. And it's fun to just thought experiment, you know. Would, say, you know, would Starfleet stand a chance against the Minmatar from EVE Online? In my opinion, no. No, they wouldn't. And the answer as to why is kind of... it's kind of right in just the weaponry of it all. The Minmatar have a type of ammo for their projectile weapons called EMP. This ammo detonates on contact with shields and is basically an EMP device as a bullet. Effectively meaning they would just shut down every device that they connect with. And they're pretty high velocity bullets being fired too. Which, you know, and they don't fire just one. They fire a lot of them. So, you know, let's thought experiment that. You fire that at, say, a Galaxy class ship. The first EMP round gets blocked by the shield. But it's an EMP round. It detonates, disabling the shield in that location, because that can happen with Starfleet shields. The next bullet that's right behind it passes through that now disabled section of shields and smashes into the hull behind it, punching a pretty big hole into it, as well as probably disabling more systems. And there's about 20 more rounds behind that. Like, you're probably not surviving multiple volleys from, say, a Tempest loaded up with 800mm autocannons. Especially because 800mm is a pretty big size for an autocannon. Well, it's pretty big size for a bullet. Like, this is a point of, for any American viewers I might have that are like, millimeters, what are those? 406 millimeters is 14.6 inches. Effectively double that. That's the size of the rounds from these autocannons. These are big rounds. Which is also why I don't believe deflector shields would be able to, the deflector would be able to protect a ship from them. Because, like, they're just too big. Deflectors can protect you from small space junk, but they don't protect you from asteroids. And asteroids aren't moving that fast. So even, like, space junk isn't moving that fast until you're in warp, and that could easily be your warp bubble protecting you, not so much the deflector array. Especially given it's stated within Star Trek that you can't really go to warp within a solar system because of all of the micro space junk, basically, that exists within a lot of solar systems. You kind of can only warp between solar systems, which is also a big advantage that any ship from New Eden would have, ignoring the obvious thing of speed not being a easy thing to compare. New Eden ships can warp within solar systems with ease because of their peg device. Their peg is what allows them to go to warp. And this peg basically morphs the space around the ship to allow it to phase through objects. A ship, well, let's again use a Tempest. A Tempest could warp through Earth to attack Earth's space dock from the opposite side of the planet, basically. It could just appear between Earth's space dock and Earth, firing a volley into Earth's space dock. And the Federation, not being familiar with that technology at all, wouldn't even be considering that that could be a possibility. They'd be probably scrambling ships to fly around Earth to defend whatever place is on the opposite side of the planet at that time. They wouldn't be considering an attack on Earth's space dock. Ah, here's Phaleg proper. Well, no, this isn't Phaleg proper. This is Phaleg story mission. This is you and Huey fighting her. And having your asses kicked. While she's not even trying. But, like, if we stop and even, like, let's talk speed. Because that's one thing that a lot of, even I've thought of when it comes to New Eden versus Star Trek, or slash EVE Online versus Star Trek, is, well, the speed argument. Well, the only speed we know for sure in Star Trek is Warp 1. Warp 1 is the speed of light. Or another way to put it, it is 1/8 of an AU per second. Because 1 AU is basically the distance between the Earth and the Sun. And it takes 8 seconds, roughly, for light from the Sun to reach Earth. So 1 AU in speed would be 8 times the speed of light. Your average frigate in New Eden warps at a speed of 5 AU. So 8 times the speed of light times 5 is their average warp speed. Now, in Star Trek, all we know of the other warp factors is that they're multiplicative. So one could assume maybe warp 2 is 2 times the speed of light. Warp 3 is 3 times. But it could also be warp 2 is 2 times, warp 3 is 4 times. We don't know. They never specify. So, potentially, Star Trek ships are faster than ships from New Eden. But if we work under the factor of it's just take base times by number, then warp 8 would be the equivalent of 1 AU a second. Which would mean that even the slowest battleship would warp faster than some of the fastest ships in Star Trek. That would also mean that by that scaling, you know, something like a Leopard would be shattering the warp scale. But that's another thing we do actually know, though, is that warp 10 is infinite speed. Ignore the fact that warp 10 is infinite speed, yet we know the Borg have traveled apparently at warp 11? Even Star Trek is not consistent with its own rules, which makes this difficult. But that's why, like, once they started getting into, like, the warp 9s, it started becoming like, oh, warp 9.1, warp 9.5, warp 9.59. It's like, okay, we get it, guys. You set yourself that hard limit of 10, and you're getting really close to it. Sounds like it's time for a new scale. I would quite honestly appreciate it if a Star Trek series were to quantify the speed of ships using AUs per second. Because that's a pretty reasonable speed measurement. But, like, we've also heard impulse speed before, and, like, warp 1 is the speed of light, but impulse, from what I remember, was something like 2 to 3 times the speed of light, and it's like, okay, which is it? So I'm ignoring impulse for this. We're going to assume, for sake of sanity, that impulse speed caps off at a few thousand meters per second. And because the mass of a ship in Star Trek doesn't really seem to impact its speed any, we'll just say it's universal. But that would basically mean that at impulse speed, so not in warp, a Star Trek ship would be able to fly circles around the slowest ships from New Eden. Like, they'd be able to fly circles around a battleship. Even a micro-warp driving battleship, they'd be able to fly circles around it. Because their impulse speed is about the speed of a micro-warp driving frigate. But now we get into range. Well, range, that's a funny one. Because in theory, based on how they work, I'm just going to keep using the Galaxy class because it's the most well-known ship Starfleet has. A Galaxy class's weapon has theoretically infinite range. But the further away you are, the less damage it'll deal when it connects, because it's a energy particle-based weapon. The longer that weapon's beam fires, the more dispersed the particles become, and the less effective it becomes as a weapon. So we hear things like effective weapons range being 100,000 kilometers in one episode. But then a few episodes later, we see a fight going on and the ships are clearly almost right on top of each other. Less than 10 kilometers from each other. Which would indicate to me that the weapons can fire out to that range, and on some targets they would still be effective, but against each other they're harmless. Which would also explain why they're not all that worried about their weapons with theoretically infinite range missing the target. Because they're harmless past a certain range. But, like, weapons in New Eden, their range greatly varies by what weapon you're facing. An autocannon, like let's say an 800mm autocannon, is going to have an effective fall-off range of probably around 36 kilometers. That's about the end of its fall-off. Past that, it might still hit you, but it's unlikely. Meanwhile, something like a 1400mm howitzer, which can be fit onto the same ship, that is going to have an effective fall-off range in the 110s to 140 range of kilometers. So if we assume that for ship-on-ship combat, a phaser needs to be around 10 to 20 kilometers from the target, they are always going to be within effective autocannon range to fight. If it's 10, that autocannon's in heaven, because that's the optimal range of an 800mm autocannon. They are very close-range weapons, because they're projectile-based. Now, if we want to get into lasers, the Amarian Mega Laser, Mega Large Laser, I forget the name, the full name of the thing, but the biggest large laser they've got, that, with, say, Scorch ammunition, has an effective range, like an optimal range of about 36, and a fall-off range of probably around 60 to 70 kilometers. A large dual beam, fit with probably Aurora crystals if they want to maximize their range, that's going to be pushing 250 kilometers of range. And it'll still be effective. Now, that is the thing with weapons in New Eden. they have different ammunitions for different purposes. That EMP ammo I'm mentioning on the Minmatar weapons, that is one of their close-range ammos. They have long-range ammos too, one of which is nuclear ammo. They can basically fire nukes at you. Can't imagine a Starfleet ship would react terribly well to having a 1400mm large nuclear weapon smash into it. And if that's not big enough for you, well, then we can start getting into the capital weapons, where the autocannon is, I think, 3,800mm. And it's a quad turret of multi-barrel guns. Like, these output a crapload of shots. Which is also a thing to keep in mind of within New Eden. Ships can be fit to resist damage types. And there is basically 4 damage types, and these damage types are fairly logical. There is electromagnetic, thermal, kinetic, and explosive. There basically isn't a ammunition or weapon type in existence that does not fall into these categories. So, yeah. New Eden ships can just simply, if they were actually threatened by Starfleet weaponry, just simply turn... they could just simply fit their ships up with resistances to stop those. Yes, this is live, Zeems VFX. This is a live stream, after all. Hope Restream hasn't put itself back in my description. I keep taking it out. I am using their service, but they weren't happy with me having the link at the bottom of my description, so I started removing it. I am just yapping and rambling about a theoretical conflict between EVE Online's New Eden and the Star Trek universe, because I am a dork. As you might be able to guess by me having a VTuber model and playing a truck game. I'm not really a truck person. I just like this game. It's pretty fun. Ooh, this is, Burn. This is the, Profound Darkness's theme. Not gonna lie, I would like to actually sit down at some point, even though I don't really play EVE anymore, and actually have, like, a thought debate with, like, someone like Lore Reloaded. Like, someone who knows a lot more about the Star Trek lore than I do. Like, I know a fair bit, but there might be things I'm missing in this whole argument, though there is one thing that I feel like anyone could definitely agree on that would be a huge advantage to New Eden's forces. And that just simply being the Galante and Caldari have... That light was yellow, thank you very much. They have antimatter ammunition. It was made abundantly clear many a time throughout Star Trek. Ships don't react well to antimatter. Oh, I can't even do that one. Blech. Okay, I need to just skip that. I am stuck. €13,000. I will take this job. Sandwich panels? I mean, obvious. Everyone needs a sandwich panel. Oh, I don't like that horn. Oh, jeez. Gassy. But, like, I do honestly firmly believe that New Eden would win a conflict between the Star Trek universe and themselves. And if nothing else, it just comes down to how adaptable New Eden is and how rigid Star Trek's universe is. Like, see, I'm waiting on a train. I'm missing this light. May as well turn my blinker on. Like, Starfleet specifically is not really known for adapting and evolving. Case in point, the Miranda class was introduced in Kirk's time. It was still being used by the end of the Dominion War as a combat ship. The Miranda is not much bigger than a Peregrine fighter, requires much more crew, can have some more advanced technologies, to be fair. So I need to continue my music. Which, it bothers me so much that I cannot turn that volume slider up to maximum. YouTube, why do you do this? Just want to see about raising the volume of the music just a wee bit, just a tad. But, like, functionally, a Miranda is just an inefficient Peregrine fighter. Yet, instead of building more Peregrine fighters, they built more Mirandas. Meanwhile, say, New Eden, well, if, say, you know, if say, the conflict begins and they're using, say, we're going to keep to Minmatar, because it's just not fair if you pit them up against the Caldari or Galante, and the Amarians is too much of a question mark. If the Amarian weapons were effective, they would just win. If they wouldn't be effective, then there is still Amarian missiles, but and drones, which would potentially be antimatter firing drones. But if we just keep to Minmatar, they don't have any specific drone ships, so. If, say, the Rifters and ruptures, frigates, cruisers, if those were ineffective, if those were being destroyed because they're too small, one, their resistances would be being swapped out to be better against the Federation weapons, which, based on how those seem to work, would be kinetic thermal weapons. Phasers appear to be kinetic thermal, because they're particle weapons. They're not energy beams, so they wouldn't be electromagnetic, and they're not explosive. So they would fall into a mix of kinetic thermal, because there is a kinetic impact of the particles, and the particles generate extreme heat. That's how they burn through things. Disruptors are basically pure thermal, with a bit of kinetic. But, like, they would basically just build up resistances on their ships to those damage types to resist the damage. But if those ships were too small, they would simply start producing and fielding larger ships. You'd be facing hurricanes, Sleipnirs, tempests, tornadoes, typhoons. And if those were somehow still too small, well, now you're facing down Naglfars, Ragnaroks, you know, and those are not going to be too small, you know, which is also another thing. Like, a Eve Titan would just annihilate most of any of the factions in Star Trek on its own. I mean, Starfleet weaponry is powerful, don't get me wrong. A phaser is capable of annihilating a planet. We're told. We're never shown that happen, but we're told that can happen. We're also shown orbital bombardment that seems almost like standard artillery shells from, like, modern militaries going off. So, I'm not sure I buy into that terribly much. But we're told that a phaser can just annihilate a planet, crack its core. Well, in theory, so can a lot of the weapons in New Eden. They're just never used that way, because that's a waste of resources. But, like, just, like, the scale of New Eden's industry and their ability and willingness to adapt to the situation would lead to basically them not giving the Federation even a chance. Really, the only thing in the Star Trek universe that might be a threat would be the Borg. But even then, the Minmatar exist. Which, I'm using the Minmatar as my example against the Federation because I feel like that would be the closest thing to a fair fight. The Minmatar against the Borg would almost be the furthest from a fair fight. Because the Minmatar aren't really known for using drones, for one. So, they're not really going to have small things for the Borg to maybe overwhelm and assimilate. And even if they did, well, the armor technologies of the Minmatar are antiquated and not very good. Now, yes, there are resistance modules, which if the Borg got their hands on those, could be dangerous. But the armor plates themselves are basically rusty scraps That's the Minmatar's MO. They build from scrap. In Rust we trust, and all that. So, the armor would be basically useless to the Borg. Maybe the metals from it, like the raw materials, might be useful, but in general, the armor itself, pretty worthless. The weaponry. It's projectile guns. The Borg don't care about projectile weaponry. Those are inefficient in their eyes. Even if that weaponry was beating them, they still wouldn't use it. Because it's inefficient. It requires turrets, it requires guns, it requires tracking computers, it requires so many things that can't be made redundant. It's inefficient. So, like, they're not gonna use that. So, okay. What's left? Shield technology? Yeah, that could be scary if the Borg got a hold of it. Little car, I need to pull out. Thank you. But at the same time, New Eden ships can handle their own shields. There's no technology that the Borg could steal or assimilate from any of the New Eden factions that the factions of New Eden can't handle. Except Capsuleers. But for that, the Borg would have to assimilate a station that has a cloning facility. And there's no way the Borg could manage that. There just isn't. Like, and that mostly just comes down to, like, the only faction in New Eden that the Borg could theoretically adapt to most weapons from would be the Amarians. And the Amarians are not above fielding missiles and drones when they have to, when their lasers are no longer working. But the Caldari, the Galante, they use railguns. They're firing kinetic weapons. They're firing things the Borg cannot adapt to. Oh, I needed to turn off there. Whoops. There's this annoying guardrail in the way as well. So, like, try as they might, the Borg would lose to everything. Because they're not adapting to missiles. Because these missiles, depending on the flavor of missile, can be anything they need to be. Like, you can have a Scourge missile, which is a kinetic impact missile. Basically meaning something the Borg can't adapt to. They could load more armor onto their ships, but that makes their ships less and less efficient. Literally, all attempts the Borg would have to adapt to the missiles would fail. Because there's also Nova missiles, which are explosive-based. Fire a volley of a mixed volley of Scourge and Nova missiles. Both of those deal with armor. On top of that, fire some Mjolnir missiles. Electromagnetic-based explosions. Those are basically EMP pulses in missile form. That would probably not only shut down parts of the Borg ship, but the Borg drones in those sections too. Especially depending on the size and amount of missiles. Like a single cruise missile. Yeah, a Borg cube might be able to function after being hit by that. But what about 80 cruise missiles? And these aren't like us-sized cruise missiles. These are bigger than us-sized cruise missiles. Like, these are bigger than what we're lobbing at each other on Earth. These are big-ass missiles with electromagnetic warheads. These would pretty concisely shut down a Borg ship. Really, any ship in the Star Trek universe, but the Borg would probably be the most weak to it, like most vulnerable to it. Just simply on account of how much of a Borg ship is more or less unprotected. Like, yeah, there are redundancies, but these missiles are also not hitting the exact same spot. They're hitting multiple spots. And the Star Trek universe being the Star Trek universe, it wouldn't be hard for any of the Empires to get information on the Borg. They would just simply have to ask the Federation, and the Federation would probably provide that information willingly. And now they know exactly what they're getting into. They know they need to use weapons that the Borg can't adapt to. And the Borg would probably be farmed to death. Salvaged for any useful scrap that can be found, and the rest of it would be broken down into raw materials. Because that's what the forces of New Eden do. And all of this is without even getting into Capsuleers. If a Star Trek fan thinks the Borg are scary, a Capsuleer is effectively a Borg drone that can form its own thoughts, is completely independent, and can pilot a ship larger than most space stations by itself, lawlessly. Though, in canon, there are crew on your Titans and ships in general, but a Capsuleer can pilot a Titan and use all of its weapons, equipment, everything on its own. And they're immortal. A Capsuleer is only dead when they authorize their clone to stop being remade. And they have to be the ones to authorize it. You might think, oh, we'll just destroy the clone facility. What, all like few million of them? Good luck with that. You'd have to obliterate the entirety of New Eden for that one. Because if that, say, even if you were to somehow wipe out all the Minmatar cloning facilities, all of those Capsuleer's clones would just be transferred to the next nearest station. They would just be transferred to, say, Galante or Caldari or Amarian stations and continue being reborn over and over and over. And the funny thing about Capsuleers, those are the players of EVE Online. They love a good challenge. If you present them with a faction that was capable of actually obliterating an entire empire out of New Eden, you would have probably a unified front of all of the Capsuleers with their industrial might to contend with. These are groups that are capable of producing station-sized ships daily. These, multiple each daily. Like, there is no sci-fi universe that could withstand that industrial might. Heck, EVE Online can't stand its own industrial might. It's kind of a growing problem that's been getting worse and worse as time goes on. More ships are being built than are being destroyed, which is absolutely crushing the value of anything in the economy, because more ships are being produced than are being destroyed routinely. Which is a bit of a problem, as you might be able to imagine. But, like, it's just not a fair fight. I mean, there are some universes that would be a decently fair fight for the Star Trek universe, but New Eden is not that universe. I mean, it's... And I say this as someone who's not even the biggest EVE Online fan anymore. Like, I used to be, for sure, but I have fallen out of love with that game many times over the years, though, as you might be able to tell by me thinking about it so much, I have been tempted to go back again. I might think about it again in, like, November. I don't have the money at the moment. Because, like, I'm tired of struggling to pay for my subscription in-game. Plus, I will admit, there is a part of my brain that's like, why would I get back into playing this game that's just gonna eat my time and I can't really stream it? Well, I could, but I'd have to do so much censoring of the screen, and I can't do my usual activities. I could stream, like, PvPing, which I'm not great at. I'm a Logi pilot, I'm not a PvPer. I could also probably stream, like, incursions or something like that, but I wouldn't be able to be in comms, or if I did, I'd have to mute the comms for the stream, because that could open up the possibility of, someone not liking their voice being in my content and me getting cease and desisted or copyright claimed for that content. It's like, it's complicated to do stuff in EVE. At least for, like, streaming. Videos, it's a bit easier. And I have thought of an absolutely masochistic way of playing Eve. And that's effectively the Eve Online Iron Man. The one step I wouldn't take would be basically permadeath. But because in my mind, that's hardcore Iron Man. I'm not going hardcore Iron Man. Just Iron Man. No player market. Now, there's some people that might think, oh, well, that doesn't seem so hard. Yeah, it kind of is. I've already, like, test-driven that before. I think when I kind of, like, was like, okay, I might want to do something with this eventually. You know, I can actually stream doing that, because I'm not going to care if I die. Or if people know where my Iron Man is. It's just part of New Eden. It's only really my main I would care about people knowing where they are, because I've got some really valuable stuff on that character that I like to fly. But, basically, I had yet to get a self-repair, because the only way I could get things is by either finding an NPC store that sells the blueprint to make something, or get it as loot off of an NPC. Because that's part of the challenge, would be no looting other players. Because otherwise, you know, you could cheese the challenge by having somebody self-destruct with a bunch of stuff for you, kind of thing. Which feels like, again, being against the spirit of the challenge. I might actually consider doing that. Because that could be kind of fun. The only question there would become, do I do it as an alpha or an omega clone? Because I feel like omega clone would almost be necessary. And then, like, what things do I allow myself to do? Because, like, I feel like missions would be fine. But not rookie missions. Rookie missions give you way too much free stuff. And I would definitely want to start Galante. As much as I love my Amarian ships, I would want the drone bay and drone bonuses. That was a speed camera. And my truck was not slowing down, so... Because, like, the thing I'm thinking of when it comes to a challenge like that is ammunition-based factions would probably be very difficult to play. Because, like, you need your ammunition to fire your weapons. So, if I'm playing, say, Caldari in a missile boat, I may not have missiles that I can use. And if I can't use my missiles, I can't possibly get more missiles by killing things. So, yeah, I would want to be playing as either Amar or Galante. They do both have drone ships, but the Galante rookie ship starts with a drone bonus. So, I feel like that would be the better way to go. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to figure out, but I might actually do that. Because that does sound fun. I don't know how fun it would be for the long haul, but it does sound fun. And it's not the first time I'd even done something like that before either. I did that with Star Trek Online. Of which I had people showing up constantly being like, man, why are you doing this to yourself? Because I find it fun. That's why. Like, I know that might be hard for some people to believe, but I do actually quite enjoy challenging myself like that. Red light violation! Ah, stabbing the sword of justice. Time to hope I don't get copyright claimed. I keep forgetting I have that in this playlist. I also keep forgetting that I'm on proper automatic. The truck does not keep itself stopped unless I hold the brake. And I know I would have a lot of people showing up to that are EVE Online fans who would be like, why are you doing this to yourself? And my answer would be the same. It's because I find it fun. The main thing I'm thinking of right now is what would the goal of the series be? Because EVE is a sandbox. So, like... finding a conclusion to a sandbox is not easy. Hey, Legend of Dragoon stuff. Knew I had that in here somewhere. The biggest worry with both Amarr and Gallente is being stuck on armor reps. And I say that's a worry because armor repairers use a lot of capacitor, and thus require a lot of capacitor skills, and cap rechargers, and cap flux coils to function. Shield uses a lot of capacitor too, but shield repairing is so fast, you don't need it running all the time. Armor reps are slow. They need to be running all the time to be effective. So... yeah. I don't think that would work out terribly well. But that is an idea for something to do streaming-wise. I'm pretty sure I was doing yeah, I was doing Gallente with my test character, so I might do Amarr. If I do actually make this into a thing I do. Because, like... I do like Amarr. And the bonus is, Amarr is purely infinite resource. It's like drones have infinite ammo, lasers have infinite ammo. There are Amarian missile boats, but I can just not play those. So I wouldn't need to worry about running out of ammo. I've got infinite. Yeah. Yeah, makes sense. Raise the gates. Thank you. You may want to raise both of them. What do I know? Well, I suppose I would take out the little divider before anything, but... I have yapped a lot this stream, and after almost 2 weeks of not yapping, I'm feeling it. This might actually be the end of the stream. I have been going about 4 hours, so I can be happy with that. Gotta see if there's anyone I might, in the 8-Bit Discord, I might be able to raid on Twitch. They don't trust me to do the I can do anything. Sad day. Get to hear Julie's wonderful singing. There we go. That's good money. Good experience. Should be level 5. Heck yeah. Let's pick up... Let's pick up this one. Okay. Because my throat is getting kind of sore, I'm going to end things off here. As mentioned, I'm going to see if there is anybody on the 8-Bit Discord I might be able to raid. Eugen went live before I did. Well, at the same time I did, really. Let's see. I do not see... Nah, he's not live anymore. Darn it! There's no one from the Discord I can raid. So, I guess I'm not going to be raiding today. I could just raid some random person, but I don't know random people, and I feel awkward doing it. I appreciate when people raid me, but I feel so awkward raiding random people I don't know. And I don't watch enough streamers to know these people. But yeah, that is going to be it for this one. I do a daily Animal Crossing New Horizons series. Should you like my yappy style of content, you can find that at 6 p.m. Atlantic every single day, or roughly 2.5 hours from now on my YouTube. I have an extra video series, which is currently Star Ocean First Departure R, so... if you like Star Ocean or just like RPGs, you feel free to tune into that. It's every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon Atlantic, or roughly 3.5 hours ago. I stream every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, starting around noon Atlantic. Not always. Today I started at 11:30 a.m. Atlantic. But yeah, all that said, thank you all very much for watching, and hopefully I shall see you guys back here next time for whatever I happen to stream next. See you all then.